Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 13th episode of the Sucrose Stans Podcast. We have a new guest today. Very exciting. Martin, do you want to introduce yourself? I hope I didn't butcher that name.
Hello. You didn't actually butcher the name. I'm a day one player. I've been playing basically since release. I mean, the Luke and Kaching, and due to
I'm
my
so sorry.
unfortunate luck, yeah, I needed to look more in depth into the game so I could keep up with the Abyss. And yeah, that's how I mainly got into theory crafting. And after I got my clear, I tried to help a bunch of my friends get clears, which got me into, Kaching mains and all sorts of like theory crafting websites and content creators. And I just found myself enjoying learning more and more about characters that I didn't even like own, just to help people out. And then, you know, after reading for a while, I found out that you can do very wonky things with the combat system and the element system. So yeah, I got into theory crafting. I got into making unconventional team. I got into like the whole atmosphere of theory crafting, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so thank you. Then, Flip is known. We know Flip, but yeah, Flip, you
No,
are
you
here.
don't. I'm not here.
Do you want to say a few things?
I am mystery.
Okay. Well, and I am Saga. I host this podcast. Sometimes I upload, sometimes I don't upload. But yeah. Okay, so on today's menu, what? So today's topic is going to be artifacts. So talking about the current artifact system, the improvements they made for the artifact system, so the elixir, and we can also talk about strongbox since leak warning. Also, we are going to talk about them adding a few more artifacts to the strongbox, which are positive changes. And a bunch of other changes. The artifact system isn't as it used to be, but there are still some points we are going to criticize. So first, we can start out with just artifact sets and the stats. I just want to quickly go over this. So the newly leaked sets. Flip, do you want to talk about the new sets? Like, how good are these sets? How interesting are these sets, and how many stats do they provide?
They're both kind of shit. So I guess to talk about the easier one first, we have the finale of the something. It's a cryo damage bonus set. It gives cryo damage bonus, and then the 4-piece is interesting because no character can really use it. It gives a 60% elemental burst and normal attack damage bonus. And when you deal damage to someone with a burst, it will cancel the normal attack effect. And if you deal damage with a normal attack, it cancels the burst effect. So yeah, it doesn't work on anyone right now. None of the cryo characters can use it. Aika can't use it because she doesn't snapshot burst damage bonus. So therefore she will lose the buff after she gains energy. It's not necessarily that the set is bad, it's just no one can really utilize it currently. So it's not that good.
Yeah.
Right now, at least. It seems designed for a future character. Maybe Skirk, maybe Dahlia, we don't know yet. But as it is now, it's not that great.
Yeah.
Or maybe copy Thunder set if you're coping.
Yeah,
True.
Capitano Cope. And I think the set is so niche. It literally has to need some, it literally needs someone that has like some weird mechanics.
Like Mavrika.
Yeah, kind of like Mavuika. And I think it's so niche for them to also be a cryo unit and be normal attack or burst focused that I think Skirk, like in my opinion, it's for Skirk, might be the only user. So we get another set that's only good for one character.
How many sets are even like that? Just it's Vermilion.
Zhao set.
You
I
could
guess
definitely
Ayato's kind of.
argue Emily set.
Ayato doesn't even use Echoes.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, Emily's set. I mean, you can use it on Kinnick, but like,
You can,
Ian.
right? But like, why are you running Burning outside of Emily?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Maybe Kanich, but like he's got Obsidian, which is just usually better.
Yeah, to be fair, you can also like if you play Klee with Emily, then you can put Klee on Reverie as
Right.
well. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that's a thing you can do. Not that bad. And I mean, other than that, there's not many, but I think they usually do 2 OP sets in the beginning, like of the patch, and then the later ones are always more niche, and I think that's just bad design. I just think it's Alekino and Clorant also being the only characters that can use the Bond of Life set.
technically anyone can if you get the weapon.
The weapon?
Yeah, the weapons that
Bond
give
of-
you
the Bond-
Bond of Life, the craftable fountain.
Yeah, the
craftables.
craftables as well
Yeah,
as
but you
Chlorine
only get
for
like
all
2
signature.
stacks. You only get like 2 stacks, right?
It's pretty cope.
It's cope, but use case.
So true. Yeah.
Also, if we want to talk about sets that only one character use, Verkacha's Glow.
2 uses that.
Dea.
No, she doesn't. Dea's
You
a
shouldn't,
scroll
because your ER
Dea's a
requirements are going to
scroll
be so
user.
unbelievably high, but like it is an artifact set for her.
Yeah,
Dea's
that's
a scroll
true.
user.
It's technically better at like C4.
I
Yeah.
think so too. And I think Marie-José should also be worse than this set even at C6. So
There's just so many bad sets.
yeah. Useless sets.
Me when I think about retracing Bolide.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Bolide. I just saw it in the menu thing. Also, Pale Flame is
Wait, no, okay, hold on. No, we are not dissing Pale Flame. Pale Flame is a good set. It's just that Eula isn't.
I don't know. I don't know
The only
about that
reason I
set.
could agree with Veil of Flame being good is because Bloodstained Chivalry exists.
Yeah, I love how they just made the exact same artifact set twice, but added on 18% attack.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's actually something we could talk about, right? The whole quote-unquote power creep of the artifacts.
Yeah.
Where you get the same exact artifact,
And
but slightly better.
I was going to, like, with the plunge set, I was going to talk about like stats. Martin, have you read the plunge set?
It gives 100% plunge damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read it many of times, trying to wrap my head around it, and I tried to think of a rotation where Gaming could work. Like, Cove would like charge attacks since I don't have
Oh,
C6
no.
Bennett active yet. It's just no, and
Also,
it's-
Claymore charged attack.
Yeah, it's very...
yeah, right.
would be very
Um,
clunky.
Gumming will
it-
never get 100% damage bonus.
It does seem like I swear, it feels like they designed it in such a way to make it so it doesn't work for the other plunge DPSs that well, like the Luke, for example, but it still somehow works for, Shao. It's almost like they're trying to target a specific streamer,
And not only does it work for Shao, it's better than Vermilion, his
Yeah.
signature
Yeah,
set.
by like a few
Literally
irrelevant.
5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
did
also,
But I
you-
mean,
I
if
guess
you're
if you have
chasing
C6,
Akasha
it's worse.
rankings, right? That's what you gotta go for.
Flip, in one of your vids, you called like there was a set that was like a 1% increase over something. Did I dream about that, or was that a thing?
What video?
I don't know, but there was like a 1% thing, and then you said, yeah, that's an increase, but I'm like 1%. That's less than a subset, so it literally doesn't matter. I swear there was like a one.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. It's burned into my head. Maybe it was a dream.
No, that sounds like
Vaguely
exactly
as well,
something
honestly.
I would say.
Hmm?
It was probably on a guide or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could it be Obsidian in the new set for Veressa?
The new set is 3% better on Veressa.
Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah, 3% over Obsidian.
Yeah, but
Obsidian is a stupid fucking set.
Codex on Veressa, does it activate? It like activates late, right? It's not like immediately there.
I think you don't get it the first punch.
Yeah.
It's like the Night Soul stuff, but after that it should be fine.
Yeah.
That
Which
doesn't.
I mean, the first plunge isn't gonna do all that much damage because you still haven't activated one of her like 17
Fiery
different
Passion.
Forms.
Yeah, you haven't activated Fiery Passion, but from the second plunge onwards, you've consumed Night Soul, and therefore you get the set bonus. But I think this also comes with another problem, to where they're making sets so astronomically fucking strong that every set following has to be also
stronger.
so astronomically strong.
Yeah, I was wondering, so about stats, since this set gives 100% like damage in terms of stats. The previous one that was the highest, I think, in terms of like damage percent, was Golden Troop with 75%, right?
Yeah.
And now they did 100% plunge damage.
Dude, we're getting 200% in Snezhnaya, that's 100%.
Yeah, what are they cooking? And then you look at something like Gilded Dreams, and it's completely underwhelming in terms of like stats, even when maximized.
Dude, like Gilded Dreams, I remember somewhere, right, that I was watching G-Stern stream, and he was trying to tell people like how Gilded is most of the time so not worth it because it's such a small increase in terms of like
Yeah.
actual substats. Like, I think he was talking about how like it's a literally one single like substat worth that
Yeah.
like realistically you should never be going for Gilded on, for example, characters like Alhaitham, right? And I see people till this very day still recommend it for Yamiko, and that's fine. It can work. It is an option, but it's like you might as well run two piece, right? Because you're gonna have one burst troop. You can't physically not have it because you're farming bosses and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad just seeing an EM set be like this weak compared to the other sets in the game, or like the two piece.
Yeah. I think it used to have like value, because if you ran it on Cookie, then obviously you had a ton of EM. But then they released the Bloom set, and the Bloom set is also just better than the Gilded Dream set.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be that relevant if Gilded was like a good set, but it's like not a good set, so why not just farm Lost Paradise flop set instead?
Yeah.
I guess
it's fine to have it as 2Bs, right? If you're farming D-Bud, right? Because most of the time, if you're doing any form of Dendro reaction, most probably you want to run D-Bud. There are exceptions like Aggravate and whatnot, but like for the most part, you're gonna get some Gilded pieces, so you can just use them as 2Bs. But now with the strongbox, right? Like you said, you can just strongbox Paradise instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like.
Also, I think Husk was like pretty well designed as a set, but in terms of stats, it's also not that great. Like it's
Husk also isn't that great.
Don't remind me.
It's like
I have farmed that set for like the entirety of Inazuma because I tried to invest as hard as I could in like my mono Geo team, being Ito, Albedo, and Goro, and like I have pretty decent pieces on the set because it took me forever to get them. And in the end, Marishusei drops, and I'm just like, wait. Wait, charge attack, normal attack, and crit. I'm
30%,
pretty sure that's all useful
36%
for E2,
crit.
isn't it?
Uh,
Right? And let's
I need
not even start talking about Albedo and how like you're better off putting him on Natlan set with Beak Patrol and you'll still get a total team damage increase than investing into his actual damage.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's so sad.
I was gonna say, speaking of bad artifact sets, what the fuck is Song of Days Past? Jesus Christ. Might be the worst set ever. Or
Yeah.
competing set ever. It's so useless.
Yeah, it's
When it came out, I actually heard a lot of people say that it's equivalent of like what is it called, a clam set? Like it ever so slightly edges it on certain scenarios. But nowadays I checked again and everyone just agrees no, a clam is just better.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know what to believe anymore.
You believe people who say Clam is better because SODP does fucking it's 6,000 total flat buff, which is nothing.
Yeah, if you I think it's like, I don't know, I think with Chevres, since I have C6 on Chevres, you could probably, since it has a 10-second cooldown, I don't know how it works, but I think it's better on Chevres than on other characters. Because she can like heal after a time.
It's good on characters who heal very early in their rotation.
Yeah.
So characters like Shin, for example, that's the one I was planning to farm it for. And I farmed it for a while till a friend of mine, like who does some napkin math, calculated it with me, and he's like, "Dude, it's so not worth it, right? Like, run Clam, man. Like Clam is better." And it's like my argument with him is I don't know the actual radius on the Clam Brock, and if I'm playing Shao and I'm in the sky, the Clam Brock might miss. You know, so maybe, and this is me trying to cope really hard, that maybe, you know, Songs of Days Past is better, and generally speaking, like they're close enough that I guess if you really just want to see a bigger number on your hyper carry, well, you know, Song of Days Past does that.
Yeah, it should just have more than 5. Like the quota should be more than 5.
Yeah.
And then it is a good set. But it's 5. You use up all 5 instantly. Then you have to wait. I think the cooldown is either 6 or 10 seconds before the set can activate again. But usually after that, then your carry's window is already done.
Yeah,
so it's just shit. It's like just shit.
That's another issue. And I think I would have really liked the set to be like very good, because then it would like push Farina. Because the set was, in my opinion, was probably designed to push Farina and teams with healers. And Farina is the best in teams with healers, right? But like, yeah, it doesn't do that. So sadly, Song isn't really. I still run Song on Xianyun and Chevres, but it's like it could have been an actual thing that's useful, but like it's not that. Yeah.
Wait, Saga. Can Vomfi just join midway through?
Oh, that's the calculator. Your calculator. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, okay. Wait, do I have invite permission?
Wait, I need to go the. Okay, Martin, you have to yap because I need to do a bunch of stuff on the server now.
Yeah, no props.
Talk about
so
artifacts. Yeah.
So artifacts. With the new artifact set, right? A lot of people are wondering, is it worth farming it over Obsidian? And it's like, for the most part, a lot of people are trying to go for Skirk. So like, I honestly value whether or not you're going for Skirk more than the set increase itself, with the assumption that you already have pretty good Obsidian pieces. Like, it's gonna be an upgrade, but it's not like Veressa won't be able to, you know, do very competitive damage with Obsidian as is. So depending on whether or not the set that has the same exact theme as Kirk ends up being, you know, best in slot for her, and she ends up being, you know, strong or not, depending on whether or not you believe in lore strength equals in-game, playable character strength or not, it might be a good investment, right? To go invest into it, especially that I believe we also have leaks that the remaining sets from
Yeah,
Fontaine are being
Reverie,
added next update.
Reverie,
Yeah.
and the other sets.
The Bond of Life, and I know quite a few people that still farm it for Colorindal or Arlecchino, especially since they've just had a rerun, and without going too much into debate about TF Colorant versus the Bond of Life set Colorant, it can be a very
If you
decent
mention
upgrade.
TF Chlorine again, you're getting kicked off the podcast.
Hey man, listen, like I'm a believer that as long as you can clear the content, it doesn't really matter how good or bad your artifacts are, right? Like, if you don't want to save your resin because you have more important things to farm for, like, I don't know, Mora or Hero's Wit, since they're releasing like 3 characters per batch now, it seems. Hopefully that's the exception. Like, it's fine. You can run whatever. Like, is it gonna be better than the Bond of Setting for most players? No, not really. But like,
Wow.
if you know what you're doing, you can technically make it an okay option at best, right? It's very limited. I would still advise people to farm the Bond of Life over TF. But if you haven't farmed the set yet, right, you can put TF. You can put Gladiator, right? Your Colorant is gonna feel the upgrade when you do finally farm Bond of Life, but the Bond of Life set, but you don't have to. But yeah, my point is, right, the people who are farming for the Fontaine domain, they don't have to do that anymore. They can strongbox it, which means that they're free to now either go farm the Natlan set or they can farm, well, Verissa set, the Blanche set.
Yeah.
Which inherently increases, the likelihood of people farming that set.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so sorry to interrupt you, but now we have
No, it's
a
fine.
new guest, Vomfi.
Hello.
Oh,
Sorry. Hello. I'm Flip's calculator.
Oh no.
I heard you were talking. To be fair, sorry that it's kind of random, but I corrected Flip on something as per usual, and he just
Relax.
suggested that I can, or if I can, join in. And you're talking about artifact sets, which is kind of relevant actually, because I'm doing some recalcs right now, and you just I think Martin mentioned something about song, or you were talking about the Song of Days Past, and it is an interesting set because overall it is like slightly better than Noblesse on like Chevrus, and it might be like a relevant set for her with Varessa, because we might just not use Chevrus's burst to like save rotation time and stuff.
This is so funny. You just
Wait,
joined to correct someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
Pretty much,
I will-
and that's essentially what I said, right? Is that they're pretty close to each other, and like some people are saying it's better, some people saying it's worse. Now we have a confirmation, right, from Vomfi that if you don't burst, well, you can't get Noblesse. Your next best option is
Great.
Song of Days Blast.
It just is kind of, I guess, frustrating, because Song is one of the very few supportive sets that we have, because they don't really make out of like supportive sets. It's especially a problem now with like Natlon characters, because although we got Scroll, with more Natlon characters, all of them fight for that Scroll spot, and the other characters have to cope with like Noblesse still, which are just very outdated sets, and Song, which is one of the recent ones, is just like is a pretty disappointing set, because it's like, I guess, an option if like Noblesse or Clam aren't like ideal, I guess, but it's kind of just a waste, and for all the Navia players who are forced to get it.
Whispers.
At least, hey,
Strongbox.
in the strongbox, yeah, it's getting added next patch, which is cool.
Yes.
Let's not forget the two Ningguang mains still. Guys, come on. They can use whispers as well.
Yeah, I've played Ningguang on Whispers. It was fun.
Yeah.
It
Alright.
kind of
Which
cleared.
reminds me, actually, Flip, I have a bit of beef with you from like one of the videos you made recently. You mentioned how like a specific set. I think it was talking about Shalonen, right? And how she's like the constellations are pretty good. And you mentioned so many Geo characters, but not Ito. Not Ito. Why not Ito? Flip?
Why would it
Do you have an agenda that you're
Ito,
trying to push?
really? So we're just
Yeah,
mentioning anybody?
okay. So
Who
hear
is
me
it?
out.
Who is
Goro.
that?
Wait, did you? I just realized. Is he making the joke that we don't know who Ito is? He doesn't exist. Is that what it
Yeah.
is? Okay,
Who?
just guys, hear me
Um,
out, right? As someone who looks into leaks, and it seems that Goro just had a rerun not long ago, and some people might have C6 finally. And as someone who spent
Oh my god, I have
hundreds
a
of
C6
trying to
Goro
get
now,
C6
but
Goro,
Shalonen is just better.
I get that, but here's the thing: when we do talk about C2 Shilonen, you can actually slot in Goro. And while his
Yeah.
buffs are really not that insane, when Shilonen is not losing the Geo-Res shred anymore, the 60% damage buff and the defense buff are still pretty relevant, right? Like I've seen some gameplay of C2 Shilonen with, to be fair, C2 Arena, so it can help up with the stack generation since Goro heals about as much as Yansan. If you min-max your Goro build for like healing purposes, you can actually run the team, and Goro goes from doing anywhere between, let's say, what's the current best team? Can we like say double Hydro, right? Like E2 Shalonen, Furina, Yelan. From
Sure.
what I've tested, it seems to
Yeah.
be the one like, the most consistent. I've seen some people run Mavuika instead of Yelan. I haven't tested that too much. It's also a pretty decent option, but I just like the comfort of double Hydro and lowering both of their ER. So
Mhm.
if we use that as a comparison or like a benchmark, the triple Geo with C2 Shilonen should be higher damage. It might not be all that much higher damage, but instead of being a combination of the hydro core or wheelchair as people call it nowadays carrying you could
Wheelchair is
actually
such a
get
bad name.
pretty meaningful numbers, right, from Ito. Like I think I've seen Ito hit for like what 150, 160 per swing. For reference, in the double core, if you have pretty good artifacts, you'll hit like anywhere between 50 and maybe 70 if like you did the rotations correctly and you have like your box active and patrol and whatnot. So it's like maybe I'm coping, but it's like one of the few last places you can cope to put Goro in, right? Because he's been like phased out from pretty much almost every team, unless you're running something cursed like EM Goro.
Yeah, about that, I wouldn't like C1 Chiori be better than Goro in that team?
So I'm talking mainly about trying to get E2 to be relevant again.
Okay, but like
And
Chiori.
that's tough.
Oh wait, no, you don't need C1. You can use C0, right? It as a construct.
Yes, Ushi is a construct.
Ushi
Yeah.
is indeed a yeah.
So wouldn't C0 Chiori be better than Goro there? Or would she not be because Goro has buffs?
Well, okay, so here's a disclaimer that I have to make. I may or may not have built my Shilonen for full damage rather than support. And hear me out, right? On scroll, you can get her to hit for about 100k per burst, and you're gonna be playing DBS Shilonen whether you like it or not, because even at C2, she still becomes a DBS if you have
Yeah,
Goro in your team,
that's true. She does hit quite
right?
high.
So like we're talking 100k per tick, and her normals probably are somewhere around the range of like 30k, right? Give or take. Some will hit higher, some will hit lower. So she's still doing a meaningful amount of damage, right? And she is a defense scaler, so Goro is also buffing her and buffing her crit damage by 60%. So it's not too bad. And also, like you said, the C1 from Shilonen would tandem with the Goro's buff. Ito basically doesn't need a shield because he'll have like near 100% interruption to resistance, right? Because he already gets interruption to resistance from his kit, I believe. And then Goro gives him some, and then Shilonen C1 gives him some. So like it's a pretty comfortable team, and it's a pretty decent team if you're willing to obviously invest into C2 Shilonen and C2 Farina. I just think Farina cons are more common than the community likes to admit. Like a lot of people have C1 and C2 Farina, especially now that she's been rerun like what, 2 times, 3 times?
Yeah. It's her third rerun.
Yeah,
Second
she had 2
rerun, third banner.
That's
Yeah.
that's exactly what I meant.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm sure.
So a bit of propaganda for Mono Geo, a bit of propaganda for Ito, but you know, he can work, guys. It's 2025.
Well,
Goro
this
can
first C-tier
actually be useful.
DPS.
Wait, what did you say about DPS?
Nothing.
I do think
Okay.
C2 Shilonen is actually a big Ito saver. And
She
it's
really
nice. It's
She really is.
and
like-
Shilonen signature also does something for Ito. It's nice.
I
Okay.
guess on the topic of artifacts, can I complain about something?
Yeah, sure.
They've tried to make artifacts like the artifact menu become more and more optimized, but every time they
yeah.
try to make it easier to pilot, they just make it infinitely fucking worse.
Yeah.
Like the artifact screen now is currently unusable because it's filled with these stupid recommendations. It's the
Yeah.
worst thing ever.
From the
Dude.
last patch, yeah.
Yes,
Something that I
it needs to be
saw-
optional. Can they please kill it?
Something that I saw online and it made me infuriated.
And we still have
Do
no
you
artifact
guys
loadouts.
know-
I'm sorry. Okay, carry on.
That Gaming doesn't have EM as a recommended stat.
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
Yeah, Gaming doesn't have EM as the recommended stat. I saw that
That's
just now. Like, as I was
insane.
talking yesterday.
And same goes for Yanfei. Oh, albeit, you know, Yanfei doesn't do 100% of her damage as reaction, almost like, you know, Gaming does. So I don't understand. Like it's and if you go into the filter, right, to check like what's going on exactly, they do have people running EM. So it's not because of the Blair base not running EM, because the Blair base are running EM. So I don't understand, why do the developers not recommend something like EM for
Yeah.
All
Goro?
of them play Chevrus. All of them play Chevrus.
They all play
That's
True,
very
Chevy
best. That's
Gummy.
very best.
Hey man, overload buffs, man, overload buffs.
True.
But, like, yeah,
Wait, no.
right,
Well, I
it's-
guess is Gaming the one that overloads? In Chevy, no, he isn't.
With Fischl, no. And
Yeah.
you need to play Fischl.
Yeah. I mean, just throw in Fischl Anii, easy, right? There you go.
Visually,
That
that
team
is the
sounds
worst
so
Gaming
cold.
team ever.
You fix his ER requirements, guys, from the electro resonance.
Actually, no. With Fischl, I think it's like split. Between like Fischl and the on-fielder, I think. But I'm
Yeah,
not sure
here-
exactly.
Here's another thing that I'm not sure if it's like a placebo effect, if I'm going insane. I swear every time I go into the artifact system and I'm trying to change like one piece and it just defaults to whatever the heck they want me to put on and I click reset, I swear that gets reset. Like every week it just automatically defaults to what the game wants you to run, not the actual filters I have.
Yeah.
I don't change often enough to be aware, but I don't know. It's still bad regardless.
Like it's driving me crazy because like in them supposedly trying to make things easier, they just make me do more clicks. Like I
They've
have
made
to
it
go
worse,
through
yes.
and it's not even the fact that like I have to press reset. I have to go in every single individual beast and
that's
click
so
reset.
much. Yes. Oh my god. Thank you so much.
It's so annoying, yeah.
It's every
like-
single piece. For what
Like-
reason? For what purpose?
Also,
And-
I
you know-
they are dedicated to making the artifacts worse.
yeah,
They are real haters, I guess.
artifact loadouts would just fix everything, but they still aren't doing those.
They do
Mm-mm.
everything they can to not do loadouts.
I actually find it like impressive, like genuinely. I find it impressive how many things they could find that's related to the loadout that isn't loadout. It actually genuinely impresses me. Whenever I read the post, I'm like, wow, I would have never thought of that. Like
All these
that's not
optimizations
anyone,
that no one
yeah,
asked
that's not
for.
anything anyone asked for. Yeah, here it is. Thank you.
Okay, I actually like searching for artifacts now, like unenhanced artifacts. I thought that was kind of annoying before to like scroll everywhere, because I have like 2 billion artifacts now, and like for an early player it might not be hard, but like if you have a lot of artifacts it can be hard to find one specific artifact you still need to enhance, and with all the selections like non-enhanced and locked and stuff. And I like the star thing. It's kind of useful a bit. A tiny bit.
Yeah. The best use I found for the star is like artifacts that are insane, even if I don't need them, right? Like anything that has like
Yeah.
it's like a full roller with like double crit, let's say EM or ER. It's like sure, I'll star it just so when I do have extra fodder or I don't have something I'm building currently, you know, I these like are artifacts that could potentially be an upgrade. They never are because they always roll the flat defense.
Oh
but,
no.
you know, it's the thought that matters. Another thing I guess we could talk about that's kind of related to a different question is the transmuter. I really hate the
Yeah.
Bing. I don't understand why they're forcing that Bing down everyone's throat. I
Yeah.
personally am a believer that it's a horrible, horrible, horrible system for new players because it takes so much XP to reduce one bottle.
Yeah.
And listen, if you're like the most min-maxy Akasha leaderboard chaser and you have like every character build and you're really just missing that one artifact to beat the guy above you, please, by all means, ignore what I'm gonna say and go ahead and use the
exactly
ball.
why I like it.
Yeah, right? Like, outside of that, though, I feel like most people shouldn't even touch it outside of the free bottles that we give because it takes so much XP from your account that it's like thousands of resins to craft like one bottle. And then the bottle doesn't even guarantee anything, right? Doesn't even guarantee a 4-liner. It doesn't even guarantee the other stats to be good. Thankfully, that is
It
getting
does
fixed,
now,
right?
actually.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
in the next patch, it will guarantee 2 rolls of what you choose.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's pretty good
From
now,
what
I
I
would
saw,
say.
also it has an icon. Like now the ones that are crafted through the artifact system have an icon. I'm not sure if that's been verified, but I've seen it somewhere online. It has like a little, bottle icon on it to tell you that, if you roll this, it will roll twice into the stuff you selected.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's cool.
It's a pretty nice thing. So please, everyone, don't use your elixir right now. I'm also not using it now. It's like, and the thing is that makes me so mad is I know they try to push the thing with 4 elixir is for a goblet and then 3 is for like a circlet to make it like less expensive and to make goblets like not insane, but it's still you only use it for goblets. You don't use it for anything else. Has anyone ever done anything other than a goblet?
I've used it for a stance.
I do actually see a lot of people using it for the sounds, yeah, and I did a couple times
Oh, okay.
because my were bad, but I do think generally it should be used for just the goblets because damage bonus goblets are really difficult to get, not to mention with like good stats. I think the base chance of getting a specific damage bonus elemental goblet is like 2.5%
Yeah.
It is
actually.
exactly 2.5, yes.
On the wiki it says that, yeah.
Can't wait for them to add another element. It's gonna be even more fun to get the goblet.
We're not
Yeah.
get. Do you think we're? I don't think we're getting another. Well, we're getting one more element at the very least.
At least, yeah, with Dane's leaf.
Yeah, but we all thought Skirk would be that element, but no, she's fucking cryo.
They
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Bro, come on, don't. Let's not cook. She's cryo.
Listen, man, I'm one of the believers that Capitano is coming back, bro.
Copy
This is so
not coming
cold.
back.
If
I will
Capitan
never. I will never give up the hope.
Okay, if Capitano's coming back, then Signora is coming back.
I
Signora
won't notice.
stands.
Signora is 100% coming back.
Everyone loves Signora.
mean-
I love Signora. Wait, 2 seconds. I need to go for like literally 0.5.
Okay.
Alright, man, enjoy. It's more of like, and this is related to like story, so I'm not sure if I should be talking about this.
Don't worry, don't worry. You can talk about it.
They've done things before in the story where people kind of just bolt stuff from the multiverse. Characters have erased themselves from existence and then re-uploaded themselves. You know?
Yeah, that I
Like-
can do that.
Alright,
Please
man.
do.
What?
Wow, really?
No,
Also,
I'm
can you
kidding.
please do an actual flip before you do? Thank you.
I actually can't do a flip.
I know, you're
Flip can't do a flip.
Yep. Caught.
Yeah, it's when someone on the internet has like a name as their username. They have like a name, and then you'd find out their real name actually isn't that name. And it's like a massive plot twist.
Yeah, it's a massive disappointment. But speaking of disappointments, right? There are certain characters
You?
who has erased themselves before, and they came back. I don't know why. I wish they didn't, but here we are. Now, the thing about that is, if they can do that, I don't really see it that far-fetched for Sonora to come back. I don't see it that far-fetched for the captain. I don't see it that far-fetched for even... They could make a... Like, they're not gonna do it, right? But, like, if they wanted to make Shabalanka, for example, or even Dorin, they can, right? Like, how much BS they allow in the universe. Unfortunately, it seems to me like it's the multiverse, right? So like anything can happen because of the false sky and because of, you know, how like the ley line system works. Like you can just bring things back from the dead.
Yeah. I do think it's realistic, especially with like Signora's symbolism about rebirth. So why wouldn't she have another
She will be
rebirth?
coming back.
Don't she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dude, the Arsenora means is gonna go insane.
So is there another aspect of artifacts we need to talk about? I mean, it's better than I think the current artifact system is still better than HSRs. I think HSRs is very... It pisses me off.
I don't know
HSR?
enough about the game, but don't they have like a thing where you can reroll substats?
Oh yeah, I haven't played the game since then. But like, is it good?
Yeah,
Like
right.
rerolling sounds so cool. Like you aren't guaranteed, right? You just reroll.
Don't think you are. Again, I don't play the game. I just hear my friends yap about it all the time. And from the questions I ask them, it seems that it's not that common to begin with to get one.
Yeah.
And when you do get one, like you said, it's not guaranteed that it will roll into. It's not like you select what it rolls to. It's more you get another chance at like the 4-roller that rolled everything into a bad stat.
Yeah. Amazing.
But, you know,
Also-
it's something. It's baby steps.
So, also I hate, like, I love off pieces in Genshin, and I hate that you can't off piece in HSR. It just makes me mad.
I honestly hate the same system in WoW. It's like, dude, the amount of times I could have really good off pieces, but no, you gotta run a 5-piece.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
They're fixing that though by allowing us to select like main stats next patch or whatever. But yeah.
Oh, nice. I don't play WoW, so I don't know.
In WoW,
Oh,
it's also
yeah.
annoying that you cannot have the same enemy as
Yeah.
one of the pieces too.
That is pretty annoying to be fair, but they are adding more enemies, right? Like every set is getting more and more enemies, so there's like a bigger variety of things that can drop the same set. But yeah, I'm just doing my duty here, as you know, like Thunda's not around, so I gotta be the one to praise Wuwa while he's not around.
Those Wuvarians are... They are... How are you all still playing that game? Like, I was surprised that it's held, like, that people are still playing the game. Like, I don't know how good the game is, but I thought that it would just fall off.
Played it with a bunch of my friends. I'm gonna be honest with you, most of them quit, and they quit recently as well.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna sound like I'm just repeating what the Jeff said, but like the game is really, really good at allowing you to do like to play two characters at once, right?
yeah,
And the
yeah.
fact that I don't know why the developers decided to, I guess, genshify it and make it so that's not what you want to do because you lose the deepen buff. While it doesn't kill dual DPS, it makes it significantly worse than it was in beta. And you could argue that's a way of them balancing thing, sure, but from the way I see it from game development, people are gonna do it anyway. So why are you like punishing them? And I try to look at it the other way around, right? It's more of like if you're not good enough to do dual DPS, because like it appeals a bit more to the casuals, you get a reward, like you get something out of it, because in that game the outro buff are like final multiplier. Like whatever damage you were supposed to do, if it says like 30% more of that damage type, you will literally just do 30% after
okay.
everything is calculated, right? So it's pretty significant, it's pretty huge. But yeah, people still run double DBSs because there's just the flexibility of double DBSs and the fact that DBSs do a lot of damage, so sometimes it's better than sub DBSs or support.
I
So
see, I see.
it's kind of like in this weird state where the sweaty people or the hard try people or the people who can actually, you know, care enough to pull off the combo are doing double DPS and they're just ignoring the massive buffs from outros. And the people who are not are just, you know, benefiting from the outros and just playing a more, you know, Genshin-like game where you just have one character at a time and there is no such thing as, you know, off-field characters in terms of like, you know, switching back and forth.
But are the best teams in the game, are they dual DPS or are they carry like?
From all the calcs I've seen, it seems to be the case, yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's mainly due to the strength of the units who are dual DPS. Like, in my opinion, the best dual DPSs, in terms of flexibility, not damage, is kind of like Shangli Yao and Shangli. It's kind of like the bird mom and like the free character that they gave us. They have very long animations, right? So instead of you just sitting there
Sean Yun
doing
clone, Booba again, copying.
and instead of you doing long animations, you just switch to another unit and well activate the animation, and then you go back and activate the other character like long animation, right? And it's just you're actively basically playing two characters at once. I've seen really, really, really try hard sweaty people pull off up to 3. Like they're just constantly rotating between all 3 characters. It's very difficult because there's a cooldown between switching, not between characters globally. There's a cooldown between switching to the same characters, right? So if you switch between 1 and 2, there's a cooldown of, I believe it's 1 second, maybe it's 1.5 to switch back to 1. But if you want to switch back to 3, you can switch back to 3 instantly, right? Like there isn't a cooldown on switching in general. There's a cooldown on switching back, basically.
I see.
But hey, this is a Genshin theory crafting podcast. This is not a WoW podcast.
Yeah, I was
Should get back
just kind of interested in some Wuba. I mean, the games are the
I'm
games are close. Like I think HSR and Genshin have similar overlap compared to like Wuba and Genshin, like in terms of player base. Even though Genshin and Wuba have constant war going on and everyone fighting each other and stuff, but to be fair, HSR and Genshin kind of, I don't know, sometimes they also fight about like
Gacha tribalism in general is so weird.
yeah. I
It
don't
really
know
is.
why they are still doing
Speaking
that.
of that,
Okay, I think for like, can we talk about gacha tribalism, or should we move back onto artifacts?
I don't mind talking about it if you have a good take
We
to make.
can.
Or I'm just gonna say like, it's hard to talk. It's just hard to talk about gacha games in general because there's certain content creators that just have a protected game, and if you talk bad about the protected game, then it's always Genshin players that are the enemies. You're a disgusting Genshin seal sucking up to Hoyoverse. But like before, for a while, it was HSR. Like you couldn't say anything bad about HSR. HSR only does good. But now that HSR is no longer like the protected game, you can say all the negative things you want about HSR, and it's completely correct. But if you say anything bad about Wuwa, then you're horrible. Then you're just again, Hoyo shill. You're sucking up the Hoyoverse, and it's so weird. Like you just can't really talk positively about Genshin, and now people are just making people are making like very bad claims towards Genshin that are like literal misinformation, and it's just cringe. You can't even defend the misinformation because if you do, again, you're a disgusting Hoyoshil.
Yeah, this sounds very Twitter to me.
It is very Twitter, and YouTube a lot in general, but like it's just gotcha discourse is like fucking dead.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
don't like
with
following
HSR,
drama in
people are just
general.
gonna like ignore all the issues with the game until the issues are too bad to where you can't really defend them.
I don't like following drama in general, but even though I stay away from basically any content creator that covers drama, I still get a bunch of like, drama bait on my feedback whenever like I'm checking any of my like social space, I suppose. And it's like, it seems to me that everyone has this like game on a pedestal, and if anyone else were to say anything nice about any other game, that inherently lowers that pedestal or like tarnishes their game. And I don't understand why people can't understand that you can compliment something and that doesn't devalue the other thing that you didn't even mention or talk about.
Yeah.
Like it's wild to me that if I say Wua did artifact loadouts, people will instantly want to kill me because how dare I mention something so sensitive for Genshin players, Like
Do
the
you know what's
game is
crazy? I don't think
bad and
Genshin
this, and
players
it's
care
like,
about
dude,
artifact loadouts. Like I genuinely think like
like,
a majority of Genshin players do not give a fuck about artifact loadouts.
okay, so here's the thing. Utilizing it and caring about it is two different things. It's kind of like the Eula banner, right? Like people wanted to run
fair
Eula,
enough.
but people didn't really bull Eula, from what at least we could tell from like estimations on like bulling websites and stuff. So it's like it would be nice to have for those of us who actually do switch artifacts, and for the people who don't care to switch artifacts, that's fine. It doesn't harm them. You know what harms them? Adding more convoluted system that makes it take even more clicks to do artifact stuff. Now that is the
Yeah, and
true
it's
enemy,
crazy.
I feel like.
It's crazy because when people want to make fun of Genshin, they choose things people don't care about. Like this new artifact system that everyone hates. No one has said anything about it, and it's like the easiest bait ever. But yeah, I think overall, Genshin, in my opinion, I think Genshin has been, at least quality-wise, been getting better over time, which is nice to see. But then, it's hard to talk about how Genshin has gotten better because everyone fucking hates Natlin.
I want to
So,
actually talk about something somewhat sensitive. Do you guys think that in any way, shape, or form, Genshin quality of life have been getting faster or better or more significant because of competition, or do you think the two are not related?
I think so. I think they are
I
related, and I think they do help the game actually. And I wanted that. I wanted Genshin to have competition so we would get more rewards and more better systems and more everything.
Right? Because the way I see it is what you basically said, Saga. Competition is good. And I'd like to think that everyone agrees on that, right? There isn't
Yeah.
someone, even if they
Okay,
were wholly chill, that they would say, oh, competition is bad, right? No,
the problem
competition
is.
usually.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that competition in general is just good because it forces the producer or the person that's selling you the product to actually want to give you more incentives, not less incentive. So
Yeah.
whether or not you like Wuthering Wave, whether or not you like Honkai Star Rail, whether or not you like whatever game out there, if it makes like Hoyo as a company see that they need to push more significant upgrades, that's good for you. Like
Agree.
literally, you don't have to even look at the other games. You don't have to smell them. I don't know how to put it. Like completely ignore the existence of other games, bro, and you're still getting good things. So other people getting good things that like are significant enough to actually bother Hoyo or decrease their, like, let's say, sales or revenue is good for you, because then they will give you more incentives. I've always used the metaphor, just real quick, kind of like phones, right? Like most phone companies can give you a phone with like 4 or 5 new features, but nowadays they give you like half a feature, one and a half at max. Why? Because, well, they can get away with it. They know you're gonna buy the newest shiny phone.
But you want to know what the problem is?
Tell me.
Genshin's biggest competition is literally itself.
I know,
'Cause if
and
you
I'm
look at
hoping
the
it's gonna
company-
cannibalize itself.
No, Genshin's biggest competition right now, like the second most popular gacha next to Genshin, is fucking Star Rail. So can you? It's like
Mhm.
it's hard because the thing is, okay, I don't really think Wuwa has pushed Genshin to really change at all. I think because Genshin, regardless, has always been adding a quality of life feature every single version, and that hasn't really changed ever since the release of Wuwa. The only thing I think could have been because of Wuwa was them increasing the resin cap to 200, because that was like literally when around the time Wuwa was coming out, and it was also something that wasn't in leaks, which it normally is in leaks if there is the quality of life changes. But everything else, I think there were quality of life changes that were already being planned, because if they were really scared or horrified of Wuwa, I feel like they would have done more,
They
which they haven't.
They gave us,
And-
okay, it's not much, but they gave us a free 5-star standard 5-star, which they've never done. They've never given us a good 5-star for free.
The thing also flipped that I want to say is not about them being scared or terrified. It's not about specifically Wuwa. I'm talking that the argument in general that the improvements or quality of life have increased a little bit. That's the argument here, right? That
But I
Wuwa
think-
might not be the number one predator, but if it helped even by 2%, 5% to make the quality of life improve also by like a small margin, it's good. Like everyone's
Sure.
happy, you know?
Yeah, my only thing is I feel like Genshin would have done them regardless. Is my point.
Yeah, that's fair to that's like the argument I want to talk about, right? Is most people I've talked to don't, like, they're split, right? I haven't seen an overwhelming agreement or a disagreement. Some people think it did affect it a little bit. Some people think it didn't affect it at all.
About Wuwa specifically, they did release Zenless like a couple weeks
Yeah.
afterwards. So I think they expected Zenless to just overwhelm it anyway, and well, it did. I'm pretty sure it did overshadow Wuwa at that time.
Yeah, like ZZZ and Vuar are about as popular as each other. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. The thing about ZZZ that I find so weird is, again,
I
I
feel
don't
like
follow
ZZZ is
drama,
the
but it
best.
seems to me
Okay.
like,
Hmm?
yeah.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna say, I think ZCC is the best Hoyoverse game, despite the fact that it's the least popular.
That's potentially what I was trying to get at, is from what I've seen,
Uh-huh.
at least, again, I don't follow drama, it doesn't seem like they care that much. Like the ZZZ players seem a bit more chill than the Genshin, Honkai, Wuwa player, you know?
Yeah, it's the smallest
They're
community,
just
which is
kinda,
why.
yeah, they're just enjoying their stuff. And most people who played the ZZZ also, like, they don't seem to defend the game. They do acknowledge that, like, there is power creep, and the power creep is pretty apparent. Like, I remember hearing a statement from Jaystrin again, because he's like usually the main guy I watch for ZZZ stuff, and he was saying, "Wow, the
Bro, he's
newest
the only
the newest
ZZZ
DPS
TC.
is the, like, DBS ceiling, insane, you know." And it's been like that like for 2 or 3 characters before Miyabi even came out, and I thought Miyabi was like the equivalent of Archon there, right? Because she was like so much better than other characters, not because of just increasing the DPS, but also flexibility. And it's like, whatever is the new characters, what is it called? The shirt big you know, big personality shirt character that
What?
is fire
Evelyn?
is apparently also like higher than her if you have trigger and you have, you know,
Evelyn.
the singing lady. Yeah. So it's like there seems to be power,
Where
but
did you
these
get big
players are not
shirts
like,
from?
you know, ashamed of it.
Flip, you don't get it. Hold on, I will DM you what Martin meant. But anyway, I do think from also well, I don't follow Zenless as close, but I have friends that do. I do think that Jay Stern is kinda for Zenless specifically right now is kinda over exaggerating a little bit how bad it is. It's definitely going in a bad direction, but I don't think right now it's as bad as he's saying, and he's kinda contradicting himself a decent amount of times on his streams when he's talking about this stuff. But anyway, about Evelyn specifically, she can be as good as Miyabi, but only in like in a very specific scenario with specific supports and like with Lighter, who is a very specific support for her, and with his like signature weapon and stuff, and also like only against fire weak content specifically, etc. But yeah.
So basically,
Yeah,
what
you
you're
did mention that, to
saying
be
is
fair, right? That like
She's definitely better than the other characters. So she's like closer to Miyabi than anyone else, definitely. So yeah,
but
like
she
that
requires
much
specific
is
characters.
true.
Yeah. Yeah, he did mention multiple times, to be fair, right? That like you need lighter. You need like specific characters with her. If you don't have these characters, you kinda shouldn't bother. Like Miyabi is a better bull because she's more flexible, right? She isn't as demanding of certain teammates. But with the assumption, right, that you're like talking about best in slot for characters and whatnot, then yeah, they kind of just increase the ceiling a little bit. And it's again not to talk about like ZZZ power creep as much as I'm trying to focus on the community perspective when it comes to power creep. Isn't them trying to defend it, right? Like from what I've seen, a lot of
Fair.
people have been trying to defend Genshin power creep or have been trying to defend Honkai Star Rail power creep. With ZZZ, I haven't really seen anyone trying to defend it. Most people are like, yeah, it's there. There is power creep. There's just not much to do about it, right? And
because
I wonder
power
if
creep
it's
is never that big of an issue in these gotcha games, and I'm tired of people pretending it is.
I think maybe it's also because it's early game power creep. I feel like I know we don't want this to happen, but I feel like characters just kind of have to be better than the starter characters in a lot better way. But like it gets to a point when, for example, HSR power level are just increasing way too fast. And I think
Obviously, sorry for cutting you off.
no
But
problem.
obviously, you cannot compare 1.x ZZZ with like current Genshin that's like 5 years old.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
year. That's what I was gonna.
Oh yeah, that's true. Just in terms of power level, I think Genshin did a relatively good job at like balancing everything. I feel like Dendro was a good thing they did to not power creep, because we realized after Dendro that they didn't really introduce any new power levels with the release of Dendro, other than maybe Alhaitham Quickbloom. There weren't that many teams that actually stood out. It was just a way to make like free-to-play players cope with or like play these certain Dendro teams that had a high floor and didn't need artifact investment and stuff. But it didn't really do a lot for the like highest performing teams speedrun. Dendro wasn't that, but like it still helped them pushing the power creep away, basically. I think that's how, yeah.
Here's the thing though, Zaka. I agree with you when it comes to like, let's say, high-end investment in terms of like artifacts and knowledge about the game. But I know a lot of people who are more towards the casual side, right? So they like don't log in daily. They log in like semi-daily. Like they might skip a day, right, or two per week.
Yeah.
And comparing Dendro characters and Dendro as an element, right, and or like as team archetypes, to Inazuma DPSs. that was definitely an increase,
Yeah.
right? Like being able to run just Hyper Bloom against, sorry to call her out, Yumiya, or like Ayato,
The
or
GOAT
like
tier
Ito,
0.
right?
Okay.
Or like non-optimal Ayaka freeze teams, right? Like if you look at just the Inazuma cast in general, and there's an argument to be made that Inazuma and cast in general, right? Like they're a bit special to say the least. But like if you were to compare these characters and the characters before them, generally speaking, unless we're talking about Hyuta, where we're talking about like top tier characters that are already known, Dendro was actually significantly better than a lot of teams in the game. Again, at like not maximum artifact investment, right? If you have like extremely good artifacts on your Ayaka, even in like arguably Yumiya or like I don't want to say Ayato, but like just any DPS of Inazuma, it wasn't that much. But if you didn't have that good, because Dendro just scales off EM, as long as you smack a bunch of EM on your characters, you're fine. It was a big jump for a lot of people. And I think what made it worse, and again, this is from like my casual friends, they shed that perspective to me. If you remember the requirements in the Dendro era in Abyss, they really wanted you to play Dendro.
That's true,
There was
yeah.
a bunch of like enemies and bosses that were centered around, do you have Dendro? If the answer is no, you will suffer. That kind of magnified to a lot of casual players how no, Dendro is actually the new biggest best thing, and if I don't play Dendro, I get punished very heavily. Again, it's not true for higher investment, but it was true for a lot of people.
Hey, someone
Simon was the boss that appeared the most amount of times in the 3.x abysses.
Yeah.
The one that requires quicken.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Well, he doesn't
someone just
specifically
said in
require
chat, Lolly making C6 Daya better than C6
Yeah,
Rocket.
I read that as well.
Funny.
I actually didn't think about that. Is that true? Maybe.
I
I
saw
can
it.
honestly see it. Lolly's fucking broken.
So I think I know like where this is coming from, because there's this one speedrunner, I believe his name is DHC Wop, something like that.
DHC
He made a
Wop.
video, right, or
call
like a YouTube short about like just characters killing Swanee, I believe. And in that video, they actually ends up clearing faster than Raiden, ends up clearing faster than like, so many characters, just because of how insane CT Lolly buffs are at C6. So that's like, it's more of a meme rather than actually like, you're gonna get these characters to clear faster.
And also Chloran Plunge being like Chloran Pyro Plunge being better than her like actual like, or being on par or slightly better than her like normal C6 playstyle was also insane against the like Capybara. Has anyone seen that?
Yeah.
But I think
Lolly is just a character in Genshin.
I think Silali was like a very bad example of them balancing a character, but I think it's not even that bad on the C0 side. It's just mostly C6 R5, but C0 is still like they compared to characters like Nahida, who were previously the I apply an element in a supportive way for the on-fielder to react with it. It's just, yeah, that's my feature and I don't give any other buffs. But then Meld is a broken reaction, but then Sidlali gives more buffs on top of enabling Meld, which is so, like, as a concept, very broken. So
I have this joke with my friends that CT Lolly C1 is basically Shanha's kit, and then CT Lolly C2 is you don't need VV, and here's a free free Nahida burst.
Yeah, that sounds that actually sounds real.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous because believe it or not, I have C2 CT Lolly, right? And I haven't activated the con, and I don't think I'm gonna activate it anytime soon. I've had it now for since her banner released. It does so much like as just one character that this is why I will never argue with people when it comes to power creep in Genshin, that there isn't power creep if you look at constellations, right? I believe at C0, for the most part things are fine outside of a few spikes, and as I like to call them, one per patch, hopefully, like Nuvolette, like Mavuika, hopefully it stays like that and we don't get another spike with Skirk or truly the captain. So like You look at constellations, and that's no longer the case at all. Once you
Yeah.
start looking at C1 and C2, no, there is power creep, and the power creep is there. It's a pretty significant power creep. You cannot compare Raiden C2 to Nuvalet C2 to Arlecchino C2 to even, I'd argue, isn't even like Colorant C2 better than Raiden C2 for the most part?
Right. No,
It's
Not by a lot.
Raiden
Uh,
C2 is a bigger personal damage increase.
yeah,
You
but
Yeah,
like
but like we're talking team DPS.
C1 and
Team Deepstone, obviously.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
getting C1 and C2 for Clorant is better than getting C1 and C2 for Raiden, just because Raiden's C1 isn't that big, right? Can the calculator confirm that?
T1 Raiden isn't that big, yeah.
Guys, come on. He has a name.
very arguably C0 chlorine could be argued to be better than C2 Raiden, actually. But
Jesus.
to be fair, I haven't looked at it too deeply, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Jello gets better clear times with C0 Clorant somehow.
Dude, I've seen Jello's like tier list, and I love the community post that he made right after like a bunch of people criticized him about like placing, for example, Lanyan above Kazuha and Lanyan like certain characters
Okay,
above others. Like, dude, in the community post, he flat out just told everyone, I don't see anyone boasting a better list. Like, he just called out everyone in the community. Unless you made a better list, I don't want to hear it.
That's
insane.
based.
Yeah, that was so big
is
from him, right?
Lanyan
Like, I
better
still...
than Kazuha?
No.
So here's the thing. His arguments and his parameters are obviously going to be different from mine, different from Saga, different from you, Flip. But his argument, if I were to articulate it for him, is we haven't needed grouping that often. And let's be honest, that is the case for most abysses. Obviously, the current one is just trying to, sell a specific standard character. But outside of that, yeah, you don't need the grouping. So all of a sudden, what's more valuable, a shield with VV or the damage percent? And again, you can verify this one. TDDS and like the damage bonus you get from Kazuha, if we don't assume you have 1000 EM, because most people don't have 1000 EM, because Kazuha does have ER needs, they're pretty comparable, right? Like, I'm not saying TDDS is quite at Kazuha level of buffing, but it's pretty close. So you end up just essentially replacing the grouping, right? And let's say the burst, which again, from what I've seen from your calculations even, Flip, you don't want to use his burst in a lot of teams because it's just a DPS loss because of how long the animation is. So,
And not
you
only
end
that,
up-
but building ER for it is the issue as well.
precisely, right? So you end up having this unit that gives you a shield and does a pretty respectable amount of damage with C1, to be fair. Without C1, her damage is not that.
Lanyan
Great.
isn't a character pre-C2.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would agree with that, because even
I
without
kinda
C2,
agree.
her shield, if you absorb the correct element, should be about as strong as Zhongli, if not even stronger.
Assuming you absorb, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
right? So the thing about absorbing, you gotta remember two things. Self-infused from Bennett, and she snapshots Bennett buff.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I wanted to talk
Right?
about are you finished yet?
No, it's fine. You can go. Sorry, I talk way too much.
No, no problem. But about
It's fine, it's
TTDS, one of the TTDS, I don't know, because I think one of Kazuha's best use cases was with Nuvillet, and Nuvillet can't use TTDS. And for Nuvillet, Lanyan is still very nice, obviously, because she's a shielder. But then I guess you can also just replace Lanyan with Zilali, and then you can play Zilali Kazuha, so I feel like he's still relevant there.
Unironically, the biggest issue with TTDS is just that it doesn't work every rotation if your rotation is
Yeah,
shorter
that-
than 20
that
seconds.
too.
Yes.
That is true. That is true. But there are quite a bit of rotations that are still like 20 seconds, or you can even extend them, right? Like, because the thing about cheat and simulations is a lot of the time you're assuming perfect inputs, and you're assuming that
Yes.
you're not dodging, you're assuming you're not moving to a different place, right? Because the enemies decided to spawn on Oganda. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't actually happen in gameplay. A lot of the times, most people will have 1 to 2 second delay, right? And if you look at most rotations that are 18 seconds, well, there you go. Now they're 20 seconds. So it can be as simple as this. The thing I want to ask you, Saga, do you think they're ready for the Xiao Lanyan?
I
Or should
think
we save that
what?
for a different podcast?
Zhao Lanyan is very good, but like I think we
Wait,
should.
Xiao Lanyan who? Replacing
Don't
Karina?
misunderstand me. That's. I'm not saying put them on the same team. I'm saying
Wait,
about the
wait,
other
wait, wait.
thing. I
No,
said
no, no, no.
the other day.
Wait, no, I'm confused. Who are you replacing?
Dude, I'm not talking putting Xiao and Lanyan on the same team. All right.
Oh,
I'm talking about something different.
okay.
Oh wait, what
Should
was
I
the
talk
take?
about it, Saga? Do I have permission?
Wait, what are you talking? What are you going to talk about?
I'm talking about the DBS Lanyan.
Oh, okay.
Should I?
All right, man.
Should I?
We are already like a bit over my usual like comfort limit for the episode length.
Yeah, it's fine. We can talk about it another time.
Okay, we are saving the Carrie Lanyan. She does have a tanky shield, so she has infinite interruption resistance. That's a pro? Question mark.
The other argument he made, right, is look at the top teams. Nuvolette, Arlecchino. You could argue for Electro just because you want a different element. It's like color end, right? A lot of these characters really do value a shield, as it turns out.
That's fair.
So that's why technically Lanyan is slightly better than Kazuha. Again, I'm arguing for the sake of Jello. I'm not 100% agreeing with him, but like I do agree in the sense that if your parameters for the tier list is looking at the best of the best characters, and it so just happens that the best of the best characters prefer Lanyan over Kazuha, that doesn't make Kazuha a bad character. It just increases the value of Lanyan since you're going to be using her more often than Kazuha.
The kind of problem is in the true optimal teams, you don't actually really use either of them. You can you can really
Chillin' and
notice
Lolly
that.
Sweep.
You can really notice that with Mavica and 5.3 because if you're using Mavica as a Shangling replacement, for example, then like you need Shilonen or you're highly incentivized, which Kazuha now is just really like mainly useful for Neuvillette and like as a suboptimal option if you don't have the optimal one, kind of like Yelan, because Yelan also isn't optimal literally
Yeah.
anywhere. You just use her because she's a nice flex slot. That's kind of the truth.
No. Listen, Yelan is still optimal for Huta.
Yeah,
That's
true. But is Huta
Dude,
optimal, huh, Flip?
She is
Dude,
very good in
here's the
single
thing.
target.
I am a firm believer of the double hydro wheelchair
I think Hutao.
with Farina Yelan.
I still would recommend getting Yelan overall for like the feeder because she can just carry like a chamber for
that's
example.
true.
But here's another
Yeah.
interesting thing, actually. Do we, like, when we talk about value of characters or how strong characters are, usually it's very Abyss-centric, but I think at this current point in time, Theater is a much harder endgame mode than the Abyss is. So maybe we,
that's
I
Wait,
think
no.
maybe we start evaluating Theater. When do we start evaluating Theater more?
We don't.
I mean,
Here is my
The
hot
community
take.
just acts like it doesn't exist.
We should.
Kazuha's grouping is very useful in feeder, I
Yeah.
guess. So that is actually a point against
Same with Venti.
Lanyan.
Venti
Yeah,
is an
Venti.
amazing Theater character.
Venti is good.
I was
in
about to say
theater.
Venti is just better than Kazuha usually in the defense, the mandatory defense one that they usually put. I think there was only one single theater I remember where there wasn't like a defense on like the third or fourth one. So like the thing about theater flip, from what I've seen, I could be wrong. It was never about the characters actually being good and strong. That does help. It's usually the bottleneck for most people is not having enough
Having
characters
enough characters.
to even start the game mode. Yeah, right. Like if let's throw an example here. Let's say Sayu, right? Guarded by most people and content creators is not that good of a character. If you needed a VV option, she does that. And the difference between her and let's say Sucrose and let's say Lanyan even, and let's say a lot of other like Jean, right? isn't gonna be as huge as just having her or not having her. You know, like what theater difficulty is to me is having the characters. Once you have the characters, your builds for the most part can be pretty copium. Your investment can be pretty copium, and you'll still clear for the most part, as long as you know the RNG doesn't screw you too much over. So I don't think character strength matters unless we're looking at the extremes. Characters that can just solo, like regardless of their teammates. Like Nuvolette, for example, you can argue Arlecchino to some extent, as long as you're not using White Tassel and you don't have Bennett, you know? And even then, you could argue she can probably still clear. So, I don't know if I agree with, like, asking someone to bull a character for theater, right?
Fair.
By the
Like,
way, we were talking about artifacts, so
an hour ago, maybe.
Oh,
to
wait,
be fair,
what?
Lanian is a perfect VV 4-piece user, so she is an artifact.
True.
So the podcast has been completed.
Yeah, true. I was just PvPing with
True.
someone in, yeah, with that one
Oh,
person.
speaking of artifacts and Emily, because you're
Emily's the goat.
talking about, I hate the Kinich teams because of like the who uses Deepwood, who like
Yeah, I hate that too.
Emily got Revere as an entire set, but it's such a hassle because you need someone to hold Deepwood. And then we also have Scroll, and Scroll has issues with Kinich. It's very
To be fair,
frustrating, you know.
Ian-san will probably fix these issues.
Yeah.
Ian-san on scroll and then
Eonson makes Mavika
Yeah.
hold a deep wood.
Mavika is holding Deepwood.
true,
Emily
so peak.
can actually use Revere properly, and Janssen Scroll, and Scroll should be consistent. So yeah, Janssen truly saves the Genshin meta. Now Flip can make 50 videos glazing Janssen.
I am actually
Dude, I
uploading
love that
Eonson
video you made.
tomorrow.
I love that one video you made about like Eonsan and Versa that was just basically a guide on how to build them. Like, hey man, use these weapons, use these artifacts. There you go. It was like the most like easy content you could have made.
No,
Dude, I
but it
have
was
to-
good
and-
You know what's so
content.
funny? The video,
And then you bragged about it in a community post showing everyone how cool you are for posting so many videos in such a short amount of time. Man, come on.
Do you know what's so funny about those videos? The original scripts were not 8 minutes long, meaning I would have like gotten no money from them. So I strategically, okay, I'm gonna be like, okay,
Added
I'm
the
gonna put this
character
one.
God, he's
ascension.
milking it.
Yeah.
He added the character ascensions.
That's the
just
first
so.
thing. And not only that, but I was like, oh wait, if I add a sponsor, that's an extra minute onto the video.
No
I'm
way.
making a sponsored video, and I'm reaching.
Bro.
Actually
just made-
sold himself out.
Oh no,
You
okay.
should have just made the outro like 3 minutes long, and then
No, I can't.
like,
You know,
you just
there
have
has
a
to be
black
actual
screen.
content in the video. I can't not have the video have actual content.
Okay.
He has to keep viewer retention. Saga, just one last thing, real quick. Since we're talking about Artifact, and I know
This
we've been
podcast
here
is
for a
never
while,
ending.
can we talk about Scroll Brawl?
Scroll
As I
is a
like to
bad
call
set, TLDR. And let's end the
True.
podcast now. Scroll sucks.
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking more about the fact that like so many
It
characters
ruins
are
everyone,
trying to
yes.
Scroll. It's like a it's like a WWE ring. It's a
Yeah.
free for all. You know? Every
Shalonen
character is
being-
fighting for it.
Shalonen being sidelined on like half her teams because Eonson is just a better scroll holder while
Mhm,
giving more
yeah.
buffs.
Scroll.
I
Scroll
was even
is like.
calculating. I was even calculating an Arlecchino Melts team today. Even if you don't get Eonson C6 buff, it's still better than Shalonen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just kind of nuts. Because yeah.
Yeah, the
Anyways.
Janssen will not survive beta. Sadly.
I would
I don't know,
sacrifice.
man.
I would actually
I don't
sacrifice
know.
your soul to make Eonson survive beta.
I don't know. We see the day after tomorrow. Anyway, speaking of outro, even though we aren't
Wait,
speaking
wait,
about...
Bumpy was saying something.
Oh,
So I'm typing it in the YouTube chat. So whoops.
Well, now you can speak it.
Okay.
Scroll
I
is
was
like a
going-
foot video. It's good. Aww.
It's good, but also it can suck ass. So
Okay.
okay. Okay, that's a nice way to finish this episode.
Not a nice way to me.
Okay. Anyway, so if you want to be a guest in the next episode, my Discord profile thing is linked in the... Not linked, but like it is... My name is in the bio, so you can text me on Discord, DM me, and then I will see if you qualify. So thank you for watching, and we see each other in the next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
goodbye.
Thanks for having me.